What's going on YouTube? So I had to make a video about this topic. There's a lot of disinformation. There's a lot of information going on out in entry nodes, exit nodes, all that type of jazz. Uh, People are clearly biased and divided in what they believe is actually going on. And this delves into the topic of COVID and coronavirus. And now we got all these conspiracy theorists on both ends of the spectrum saying there's links that cause XYZ, or no, it's surveillance state, man, or no, it has radiation. And quite frankly, I'm not here to debate on either of those matters, but I am here to address a few inconsistencies and realities that we are actually facing in the midst of all this that's going on worldwide. So, I was just on Twitter, just doing nothing, doing some dumb shit. What would I know, right? Just Googling, following people, responding to comments, just not your typical Twitter user. And I came across this video that I found very interesting. I didn't exactly know the guy. I didn't know he had a calling or like a huge following like that. And it just points and highlights how there's, no matter what level you are in the industry or whatever the hell you represent, there's so much disinfo. Some background before I delve into the subject matter. The guy's name is Penguin ZO, and I didn't even know the guy existed, as many probably don't as well. He has a lot of followers, 4.7 million, 4.8 million subscribers. I didn't know he existed. I'm pretty sure there's so many people out there that did not know he existed. Just because you have a big follow ratio does not mean, you're an expert, so to speak. And I'm not taking shots at the guy. I'm just merely stating that as fact, and that applies to anybody who has a platform. All right, so let's get into the video. His latest upload talks about how 5G coronavirus the title literally is 5G coronavirus conspiracy is insane. All right, so that's the title of the video. And right off the bat, he starts it off with, this is the intro. This is how he sounds like when he first starts the video.
You all know I'm a big fan of conspiracy theories, as long as they're harmless, fun ones, such as, reptilians controlling the world, talking about, like, zippers on the sides of some powerful people's necks that reveal a giant lizard underneath the human skin suit. Flat Earth is always a classic, fun one to play with. But then there's they're very dangerous ones, and I think one of them that's really taking a huge upswing in the amount of people that believe it is 5G causing the coronavirus. A month ago, this was a fucking joke across the entire internet.
First point. So the guy starts off by condescendingly referring to his whole audience.
There's so many people that are now unironically believing 5G is the cause of coronavirus that I actually can't believe it. These same people probably believe chocolate milk comes from brown cows. It takes mere minutes of research outside of Facebook anti-vax groups, actual scientific research. It takes only minutes to immediately disprove that and find there is no connection between 5G towers and coronavirus. That shouldn't be shocking to the majority of people, but to some people, I'm speaking blasphemy. I am a puppet of the Illuminati to some people for saying that, because these people see the truth. These high school dropouts that failed every fucking course, no, they're the ones that understand the 5G connection and coronavirus. Not the scientists, not the experts. These fucking...
Newsflash to the guy giving all this shit and prefacing his whole video by condescendingly coming at 4.8 million subscribers, who probably not all of them agree with him, and now after this video they probably will unsubscribe, and there goes which money's probably the least of his worries, and quite frankly most people don't do this shit for the money. So you have a guy here who has a calling. I'm not even sure his channel delves with any political shit, and he starts it off by basically telling the viewers, oh, you guys are all so fucking stupid, and you should trust what I'm saying, because I actually went to college, and I know what I'm talking about. Alright, so now that we've addressed that, he's very passive-aggressive. He comes off like saying all types of things, and he says, "Oh, these are the same high school dropouts who are not quoting anything," but yet the guy's not even giving any quotes or referencing anything. Anyways, that's a separate matter altogether. The thing that really struck me and that really got to me is this following point that he makes.
Fucking limp-dicked now. So, how did this start? I'm not here to be a fucking science professor, so I'm not going to tackle every angle of this.
At least he's got one thing right.
I'm just going to point out the most common and the most obvious fallacies in this logic of 5G being the coronavirus culprit, the one that's really controlling it all, and how the government, big brothers, got us under their thumb. They don't want us to see the earth is really flat, so they're using coronavirus to keep us inside and erect more 5G towers. We'll start with the origin of this conspiracy, at least in regards to coronavirus. In China, Wuhan, a 5G tower was rolled out at the end of 2019, so just a little bit before coronavirus broke out, and people are attributing the tower as the cause. That is ground zero of coronavirus. The tower caused it. That's pretty much where that logic ends. And then
I agree to an extent, but once you hear the next point that he goes into, you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
As it spread to the United States, they're saying the 5G towers are the cause of coronavirus in the U.S., not because it's contagious through, spreading and being around people, but because the towers themselves are emitting too much radiation and it's causing the coronavirus, and the coronavirus itself isn't even real. It's a made-up hoax to cover for radiation poisoning. I spent a few hours researching.
As I prefaced at the beginning of the video, you have people that are conspiracy theorists, and then you have professionals, and then you have a bit of a hybrid in the mix. I'm neither of those. I'm just merely pointing out the inconsistencies, and I will call some things out if I need to. Anyways, let me find a few key points and continue hearing the video.
Searching the conspiracy theory and looking around what everyone says on Twitter in these circles that truly believe this stuff.
Keyword.
And they seem to all agree that coronavirus itself isn't real. What it is just radiation sickness, because the symptoms of radiation sickness are similar to those that are being reported with coronavirus. So that's basically the whole conspiracy in a nutshell. And it is fucking ridiculous. So 5G towers have existed in the US since early 2019. While the idea of 5G has existed much longer, and most people seem to think we've had 5G for longer, we really didn't start getting 5G until early 2019 with
Following that whole train of thought, we've had all these types of signals and frequencies for like a long ass time. It's the main fucking reason we have cell phones and we can make calls and we can actually use the internet. So I'm not going to delve into whether 5G's been around for a while or not, but simply put, we've had this technology for quite a bit of time, as has the world. Anyways, continuing with the video.
Actual towers and everything being built around the US. Those aren't make-believe. That's not like Tooth Fairy shit. It's real. You can go see those 5G towers in the real world in person. It's not smoke.
Yeah, clearly it's not smoke and mirrors. There's a few in the area. There's a few being installed, and they're everywhere. I think, for reference, I think Chicago was the first. It had the medical facility Rush was one of the first to actually have 5G installed, and that's supposed to help with like diagnostics and have a better connection. But anyways, that's a separate matter altogether. Let's stick to the video.
Smoke and mirrors, no magic tricks. That shit is there, and it's been there since 2019. There were no cases of coronavirus in the U.S. throughout all of 2019, and there were no cases of coronavirus in the U.S. until the China incident where coronavirus started to explode, and then you know how the story goes from there. It spread throughout the entire world, but they seem to think that it's not actually spreading from human to human contact. It's being transmitted via the beams from the towers of 5G. That seems to be their accepted belief. I'm going to immediately poke a hole in that. Israel has 7,400 cases of coronavirus with 39 dead. Israel has no 5G towers. None. So how...
Okay. Nothing against Israel, and I'm pretty sure Israel has way better technology than anybody else, and that might be actual fact, but don't quote me on that. So what he's basically saying is that, we have all these coronavirus cases in Israel, yet there's not a single cell phone tower there. And not just this guy to say, oh, he's the one that's saying, oh, no, there's so many people, there's so many like actual public speakers and government officials and I don't know, like any single category you could delve into. This is not nothing that's like a lie. Israel literally has no 5G towers there. They might have other types of things I wouldn't know about it. I don't live there. And so, yeah, the first thing that he says is we have, or Israel rather, has these cases, right? But get this, they don't have any type of 5G towers. Stay with me on this one.
How the fuck can that happen by this logic? Some enlightened Twitter users will be quick to point out that the radiation sickness was transferred. Someone who was infected by a tower in the US or some other part of the world traveled to Israel and started spreading it that way. Well, that's impossible via your radiation sickness hypothesis because...
I agree with that, because if that were the case, then that would mean what? People are fucking robots or something? Or we're living digitally? Yeah, no, that's... I agree with that point. Only, very minimally with that point do I agree. But I agree with it nonetheless.
Radiation sickness isn't contagious. You watch Chernobyl on HBO and you think you understand everything there is to know about radiation. Well, I'll tell you one thing Chernobyl got...
For context, Chernobyl, a whole radiation place that affected mass civilians, soldiers, everything in sight. Look it up. It's very fucked up.
Got wrong. You are not some kind of walking fucking virus with radiation sickness. If someone you know has radiation sickness, they cannot transfer that onto you. If their entire fucking clothes, their entire wardrobe is covered in dense radiation and they try and suffocate you with that, maybe. But as a whole, radiation sickness itself is not contagious. So you'd have to immediately throw out the radiation sickness hypothesis because it wouldn't be able to spread. It'd have to be coronavirus, which does exist and is very, very contagious, which is why...
Okay. Assuming coronavirus does exist, which it does, but then we also have to look at the other angle and assume that these conspiracy theorists are like actually telling the truth. Like, what would they know? I'm not here to actually pick sides, just making a fucking video. So, in reference to his point on radiation sickness and the hypotheses and all that, the guy's not just him, anybody who alludes to the same methodology or pattern of thinking, he's basically stating that the individuals affected by this thing in the hypothetical sense, they're clearly targeted. And I'm not going to go into things, but we do have programs like HARP and a bunch of other hypersonic weapons and all this shit. And not only here in our country, it's worldwide. So he's basically accepting that if it were to be possible, if it were to be true, then the people that are getting affected by coronavirus were clearly being triggered by the quote-unquote frequencies, which hypersonic weapons and all that have the capabilities for long range. Anyways, let's continue with the next point.
People are being ordered to stay inside. If it was radiation poisoning, radiation sickness, it wouldn't matter if you were around 1,000 people. No one is going to catch that from you. It's easy to poke 1,000 different holes into this 5G coronavirus conspiracy. You can turn this shit into a fucking pincushion because it is so weak. But so many people still believe it just because I think they want to. They want to believe it's something bigger, like some like grand conspiracy, just the man trying to keep them down or something.
That's a reasonable thought. That's a reasonable way to look at it too. All of a sudden with the whole COVID and coronavirus things, it's like all these people that have no fucking say, and I'm not taking shots at anybody, but like all these people that you've never even heard of, not this guy, like actual people that, like, let's say they work in some other industry, all of a sudden they're giving you tips on like health, they're giving you tips on what precautions to take, and it's like, dude, I thought you were like a fucking chair at the, administration, this and that, or I thought you were a music artist. Like, why are you telling us this shit, And that's not to say stay in your place, but at the same time, it's kind of like we're living in that age where people think they're experts on everything. I don't think I'm an expert by any means. I'm simply just pointing out things. And so, alluding to the previous point this guy mentioned, so if it can't be spread, assuming COVID is real, and this will get a kick. It'll give a kick to the conspiracy theorists and whoever opposes that. If it's real, then why do we need all this protection in the first place? And if the hypothesis is actually real with the whole thing, that it's targeting certain people, why the fuck do we need all this shit? Like, why do we need masks? Why do we need to sanitize and all that? Just think about that for a second. It doesn't make sense. And that's why there's so many people making videos at the same time. And it just, I'm not meaning to pick on this one dude. There's so many people out there that say the opposite of what this guy does. This guy actually makes an attempt to explain it and break it down to non-scientific terms for those people that don't understand or, quite frankly, don't give any shit. While there's other people that are just like, oh, dude, it's a conspiracy. It does this because that. But they don't give any reference point. They don't have any like abstracts. They don't have any type of information. They just say an opinion and people quickly follow it. Half of the time they happen to be in the industry, and the industry is also very split in terms of who's saying this and that. I mean, we got Elon fucking Musk saying that coronavirus is not real. That's a guy who runs a billion-dollar industry. And then we got your, I could go on, but I'm not going to. Just for fucking video time length sake. But key takeaway points from this main video, which you can find on YouTube, just Google 5G coronavirus conspiracy is insane. That's literally what he called it. And then you have all the trolls in the comments. You have a lot of people refuting it. You have a lot of people supporting it. You have a lot of people just talking shit against anybody. And then you got the obvious trolls. You really got to look at the comments, like the types of shit people say. You would not believe it. But yeah, to bring the video to an appropriate time frame so I could actually upload it. Key takeaways from the video that I was referencing. In reference to radiation sickness and the hypothesis of how it spreads, if it's really linked to 5G. Dude and other people are basically stating that the individuals affected by this disease, virus, I've heard it used interchangeably, they're clearly targeted. So it's like it's like similar to how diplomats get targeted in other parts of the world through hypersonic weapons and all that. The public domain. I'm not saying anything that's, look it up. And another key point, if it can't be spread, assuming COVID is real, then why do we need all this protection, And furthermore, the last point, Israel has no cell phone towers. Many nations do. Also, I'm sure Israel has better technology, as I said, or something. But like my response focuses on the points made by the guy on this video. Not the country, not other people's ideology, not what the hell's going on worldwide, okay? This is strictly on this video. And so, yeah, like, what do you people think? It's weird to think about, like, but the possibility for it to actually be true, possibly, I guess it exists. I mean, are we there yet? Who knows? Are other countries there yet? That's what we should be asking. Why should we actually just stop and, accept it as something that could happen when we could, I don't know, make it better, or defense shield or some type of thing, And for the conspiracy theorists out there, show some proof. And for the people that are like so-called experts, great. Show even more proof. Because there is an actual link to frequencies and the effects on the human body. I mean, I'm starting to rant, but anyways, when you watch a movie, when you watch a television show, you're sort of in a way manipulated by what you're seeing on the TV. You see a fucking movie that makes you laugh or is funny, then you laugh and you have that reaction, ha 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 type shit. Or you see something that's like a thriller, it's like a suspenseful thing. You know, shit conveys an emotion to the viewer. And putting it in layman's terms and modern era terms, coronavirus and people having platforms and all that jazz. There's so many videos out there of people like going to hospitals, recording shit and doing all this and that and saying, oh, hospitals are empty. Oh, this shit's like that. But people have to realize that maybe it's just because we're the USA and we have a firm grasp on it, on the situation. Maybe that's it. Did anybody ever think of that? And I'm not taking any negative shots at any other nations. If you've been keeping up with politics and you actually understand what's going on, then you're very well aware that there's been many nations sending aid to each other. Apparently right now I just got word that there was the impeachment of a certain individual that tried to get President Trump impeached, or he was fired rather. And it's just such an awkward time. But to not rant, there's so many videos. I know this is not professional by any means. It wasn't meant to be. But I just can't believe the type of things that, you know, during a situation where we're supposed to be working together and doing this and that and actually helping one another, we have people trying to spin a narrative, or you have the complete opposite where people are just convoluting garbage. They don't even understand. I'm not talking about this guy. I'm talking in general. From what I've seen on Twitter, from what I've seen on the Reddit, from what I've seen overall, people seem to think they have some type of authority, but yet they've never fucking engineered any type of device that even links to what they're talking about. They don't even have a degree in that specified thing. And yeah, maybe this guy's got a point. Some of these people don't even have a degree, or they never even finished high school, and they think that there's some type of individual that apparently knows it all. And then of course we have the conspiracy theorists that don't have any fucking solidified proof, but they're experts, right? And then they go to a hospital, they record this shit, or they go outside and they record this shit and they're like, hey, look, this is an example. Anyways, the link will be in the video description. I just had to make a video because I felt these points needed to be addressed. What do you guys think? Do you really think that coronavirus is being spread through these cell phone towers? Do you think it's foreign interference? Do you think it's some other thing? Let me know in the comments. We'll be uploading this, and yeah. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Have a good day, depending on what part of the world you're in. And yeah. Peace.